Ladies and gentlemen, in the theater of African history, there comes a time when a man does not walk onto the stage, he storms it, not for applause, not for recognition, but because silence has become betrayal. In a time when many wear the mask of leadership but carry the soul of servants, this man stands different. He does not beg for space in history, he carves it with the chisel of courage. His words are not written in ink, they are branded into the conscience of a continent that has slept too long. His rise is not the result of convenience, it is the result of confrontation with a system built to suppress him. They did not choose him, the moment chose him, and in rising he did not ask who would support him. He simply declared that Africa would no longer bow, and when he stood the continent felt it. The young felt it, the oppressor feared it. Because this man is not just a name, he is a warning, he is a movement. He is the echo of Sankara, the whisper of Nkrumah, the thunder of Lumumba, and now the world must learn what we already know. Revolution has a name, and that name is Ibrahim Traoré. He is not a product of the system, he is a rejection of it. In a world where so many are shaped, softened, and silenced by institutions designed to preserve the status quo, he emerged not as a creation of comfort, but as a consequence of struggle. He did not rise through polished policies handed down by former colonizers. He did not attend their elite tables seeking crumbs of power. No, he came from the places they forgot, from the dust, from the truth, from the cries of the people who had nothing but dignity and the will to rise. And that is what makes him dangerous to the architects of oppression, and precious to the children of Africa, because his voice does not echo their system, it defies it. He has not taken power to participate in the game, he has come to flip the board. He has refused to walk in the footsteps of those who used the presidency as a platform to trade national wealth for foreign praise. He has not worn the masks of democracy that hide dictatorship. He does not speak in circles designed to confuse. He speaks like a man who knows time is short and history is watching, and that is why they try to label him. They say he is young, inexperienced, impulsive, but what they truly mean is that he is uncontrollable, uncolonized, and unwilling to compromise the soul of his nation. This man has not memorized speeches written by foreign consultants. His message was written long before he stood at any podium. It was written in the eyes of the orphans of war. The sweat of the workers denied fair wages. The tears of mothers who buried their children in poverty created by theft. He does not quote theories born in the air-conditioned offices of foreign universities. He speaks from the trenches, from lived reality, from the kind of wisdom that comes only when a man refuses to look away from injustice. When the world expected him to follow, he refused. When they offered him silence in exchange for stability, he chose resistance. And when they warned him that revolution would make him a target, he replied with the courage of a man who understands that death with dignity is better than life in submission. He knows the game. They praise you when you obey. They threaten you when you resist, and they try to erase you when you inspire. Yet he continues not because he is naive, but because he is awake and he knows the people are awakening too. He is not shaped by comfort, he is forged in confrontation. He has stood in front of those who thought Africa would always bow. He has told them their time is up. He has told them that we no longer buy their lies packaged as aid, nor do we dance to their music while our economies are looted. He has made it clear we are not asking to be included in their plans. We are building our own, and if they do not want to stand beside us in partnership, we will march forward without them. He understands that the system they built was never meant to serve us, only to manage us. And so he does not decorate the system, he dismantles it. He does not paint it in new colors. He burns it to the ground and plants new seeds, seeds of African pride, seeds of justice, seeds of freedom without foreign fingerprints. They have spent decades grooming leaders who look like us but speak like them. But now a new breed has arrived, one that does not seek approval from Paris or Washington, but seeks purpose from the people. His rise was not orchestrated in secrecy. It was born in plain sight in the frustration of a population that was tired of being governed by men who feared their masters more than they loved their nations. His election was not a ritual, it was a rebellion. It was the sound of chains breaking in broad daylight, and now that he stands, he refuses to bend, because he knows that once you kneel for convenience, you will never stand for principle. He has become a threat to the global order not because of his weapons, but because of his ideas. He has become a beacon not because of his age, but because of his authenticity. And now, across the continent, the youth whisper his name not as a celebrity, but as a symbol. Because in him they see that revolution is no longer an event. It is a way of thinking, a way of walking, a way of ruling that puts people over power, freedom over fear, and legacy over luxury. They tried to build a system to contain us. But they did not count on him. They did not count on the storm. They did not count on a leader who would not play their game, not because he couldn't, but because he refused. And now that he has stood, there is no turning back, because revolution has a name, and that name is Ibrahim Traoré. He leads with conviction, not convenience. In an era where too many rise to power only to compromise their values in the name of political survival, here stands a man who has refused to betray the truth for applause. He does not bend when pressure increases. He does not smile for cameras while his people suffer in silence. He does not adjust his message to make his enemies comfortable. He is not a man of shifting positions. He is a man of steady purpose. And that is why they do not understand him, because in a world that rewards obedience disguised as diplomacy, he has chosen the dangerous path of honesty. His words are not measured to avoid offense. His declarations are not rehearsed to earn the approval of those who never wished him to succeed. He does not speak because he loves the sound of his voice. He speaks because he carries the pain of the people in his chest. And that pain demands expression. That pain demands action. That pain refuses to be silenced, repackaged, or postponed. So when he addresses the people, he speaks with the certainty of a man who knows exactly who he is, why he is here, and where he intends to lead them. His leadership is not reactive, it is intentional. Every step he takes is guided by vision, not by fear. Every policy he introduces is rooted in liberation, not in imitation. He is not seeking to impress international observers. He is seeking to transform African lives. He is not managing colonial leftovers. He is building a new future that does not ask for permission and does not apologize for rising, and in that mission he has accepted the cost. Because conviction is not comfortable. Conviction demands sacrifice. He has walked away from the easy path, the path lined with promises of foreign loans, staged praise, and temporary peace. He has chosen instead the road of resistance, of principle, of deep-rooted change. He knows that real transformation does not come dressed in suits and staged press conferences. It comes with disruption, with hard decisions, with the courage to say no when everyone expects yes. And that courage cannot be borrowed. It must come from within, and in him it burns fiercely. He does not fear isolation, because he is not alone. He has the people, and when a leader walks with the people, he walks with power no institution can manufacture. He draws his strength not from foreign embassies, but from the faces in the market, the hands in the fields, the cries of the youth longing for purpose. He understands that leadership is not about sitting at tables where Africa has no voice. Leadership is about building a new table where Africa decides the menu, and that table will not be funded by those who benefit from African chaos. It will be built by Africans, for Africans, and with Africans. In every statement he makes, there is clarity. There is no room for double-speak, no space for diluted messages. He tells the world that we are not begging for freedom, we are claiming it. We are not waiting for permission to rise, we are already rising. He tells the continent that sovereignty is not a slogan, it is a sacred duty, and he lives by that duty, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. They call him bold, they call him radical, but what he truly is consistent, consistent in the defense of dignity, consistent in the pursuit of justice, consistent in the belief that Africa deserves more than survival, it deserves success on its own terms. That consistency terrifies those who benefit from Africa's fragmentation, because they know that conviction spreads faster than fear. When one leader stands, others begin to see that they too can stand. And that is why they try to silence him, not because he is wrong, but because he is right too soon. He leads with a truth that cannot be softened. He does not compromise for comfort. He does not trade values for visibility. And in doing so, he has become more than a leader, he has become a mirror that reflects what African leadership should be, brave, unbought, and unyielding. He does not speak in the language of dependency. He speaks in the voice of destiny, and that voice is echoing across the continent, calling others to rise with the same fire, the same discipline, and the same clarity. Let them say what they will. Let them write reports and issue warnings. The world may not like his truth, but they cannot unhear it, because when a man leads with conviction, he does not just change policies, he changes people. He does not just govern a country, he reshapes a generation. And that is why the fire he carries will not be extinguished, because revolution has a name, and that name is Ibrahim Traoré. He builds power from the people, not from permission. In a continent where too many leaders have forgotten the source of their legitimacy, where they govern like kings but think like colonized subjects, here stands a man who remembers. He remembers that the seat of leadership is not a gift handed down by foreign interests, but a responsibility rooted in the voice and will of the people. He understands that real power does not come from endorsements by global institutions or the applause of foreign media. It comes from the soil, the streets, the sacrifice of ordinary men and women who demand to be seen, heard, and respected. He has rejected the narrative that says Africa must always be managed, always be guided, always be told what to do. He has refused to lead like a messenger of outside agendas. Instead, he has declared that we will no longer wait for permission to rise. He has said it with clarity: the age of dependence is over. The age of borrowed dreams is over. He does not run to sign documents that sell the nation for aid wrapped in conditions. He does not negotiate from a position of weakness. He does not look to be included in structures that were never built to serve Africa. He is building new structures made by the people, for the people, and rooted in the dignity of African self-determination. He governs like a man who has looked his people in the eyes and promised them that their pain will no longer be dismissed. His policies do not come from distant think tanks, they come from the ground. He does not build economies on spreadsheets while the farmers have no seeds. He does not quote statistics while children sit in classrooms with no books. He is not distracted by the illusion of growth created by foreign companies extracting African wealth while leaving African people behind. He is focused, clear, and committed to building a nation that reflects the strength, resilience, and capacity of its people. They ask how he will do it without foreign backing. They laugh at the idea of Africa building itself. But that laughter is the sound of fear that we might finally realize we were never poor, we were only plundered, that we were never weak, we were only deceived. He is showing us that African power does not lie in pleasing the global elite, it lies in mobilizing the people, uniting communities, and defending our own resources. and that power, once awakened, is impossible to suppress. This man is not asking for investors who want to own us. He is inviting partners who are ready to walk with us on our terms, not theirs. He is creating systems that reward production over dependency, innovation over imitation. He is teaching the youth that opportunity is not something to seek abroad, but something to build at home. He is making it clear that our strength lies not in the generosity of outsiders, but in the unity of our people. And that message is not just revolutionary, it is necessary. He has replaced the language of loans with the language of labor. He has replaced the culture of waiting with the culture of working. He does not tell the people to be patient while the rich get richer. He calls them to participate, to own the transformation, to rise with pride in building something they can claim as theirs. He has turned leadership from performance into partnership, from status into service. And in doing so, he is not just leading a government, he is leading a movement. He knows that when the people believe in their own power, no force can stop them. He is not obsessed with personal legacy. He is obsessed with national awakening. He is building a foundation that others will stand on, a structure that will not collapse because it is rooted in truth. He is not seduced by the temporary comfort of international praise. He is anchored in the permanent strength of national purpose, and in that strength he is building something that no amount of propaganda or pressure can destroy. They ask where he draws his strength. He draws it from the mothers who still believe in tomorrow, from the youth who refuse to leave despite hardship, from the elders who remember when Africa had pride, before it was stolen by treaties and corrupted by compromise. He draws his power from the people, and when the people become the source of power, the revolution becomes unstoppable. He has become more than a leader, he has become a bridge. A bridge from broken promises to real possibilities. A bridge from despair to dignity, a bridge from begging to building, and because of him, the world must understand that Africa no longer needs to ask for a seat at the table. Africa is building its own table. And seated at the head of that new order is a man whose power does not flow from outside validation, it flows from within, from the hearts of the people. And that is why revolution has a name, and that name is Ibrahim Traoré. He has become the fire that cannot be silenced. In a time when fear has been normalized, when speaking the truth is treated as an act of rebellion, here stands a man who does not whisper, who does not retreat, and who does not wait for permission to be bold. He speaks not because it is safe, but because it is necessary. He rises not because the world made room for him, but because injustice left no other option. He is not just leading a government, he is igniting a generation. And that is what makes him dangerous to the enemies of freedom and a beacon to those hungry for justice. They tried to dismiss him as young. They tried to discredit him as inexperienced, but age does not define courage, and experience does not guarantee wisdom. What defines him is his willingness to say what others fear to admit, that Africa has been exploited long enough, that the people have been lied to long enough, and that the time for pretending is over. He does not dress his words in the language of diplomacy, he dresses them in truth, raw and unfiltered, because only truth can cut through the chains that still bind the continent. He knows the price of speaking too clearly. He knows what happens to leaders who threaten the status quo, but he speaks anyway, because he is not afraid to be targeted, he is afraid that silence will win. He does not run from confrontation, he embraces it, not for pride, but for principle. He knows that the battle is not just for Burkina Faso, it is for every corner of Africa where people still believe that dignity should not be traded for survival. He has become more than a political figure. He has become a symbol of what is possible when fear is rejected and truth is embraced. And symbols once lit with purpose become fires that spread. They tried to contain him with criticism. They tried to isolate him with sanctions, but he did not shrink. Instead, he grew. He grew in the minds of the youth who now see leadership not as corruption in a suit, but as service with courage. He grew in the hearts of the poor who now feel seen. He grew in the vision of a continent that is tired of bowing and is ready to rise. He is not fighting for popularity. He is fighting for the soul of a people who have been told they are too weak to stand. His voice has become the rhythm of a new Africa, one that does not explain its pain to the very powers that caused it, one that does not negotiate its freedom like a favor, one that does not ask the world to change before deciding to believe in itself. His voice has become the challenge that wakes the slumbering, the fire that scares the comfortable, and the hope that feeds the forgotten. They will write articles about him. They will debate him in foreign capitals. But they will never unsee what he has revealed, that true leadership in Africa is not extinct. It has only been buried beneath decades of fear, and now that it has risen, it cannot be silenced. He is the example the continent was waiting for, not because he is perfect, but because he is unapologetically honest, unshakably committed, and deeply connected to the heartbeat of his people. He has reminded us that revolution is not just protest, it is a transformation of mind, of spirit, of direction. He does not stand alone. Behind him is a growing movement, not one built with banners and slogans, but one built in conversations, in shared frustrations, in quiet realizations that enough is enough, that the old order has failed, that the people deserve more than promises, that the continent must choose either submission or sovereignty, and that neutrality is no longer an option. His fire has spread not by force, but by truth. Because truth, when spoken without fear, becomes more powerful than any weapon. He is not chasing history, he is creating it. He is not waiting to be remembered, he is determined to change what will be remembered. And in doing so, he has become the face of a future that refuses to be silenced, softened, or sold. That is why the people chant his name, not because he asked them to, but because he gave them their voice back. That is why the world watches him, not because they admire him, but because they fear the freedom he represents. Because once a fire begins in the hearts of the people, it cannot be extinguished with policies or propaganda.